You don't get him in the end. Is that because of the Hollywood code says that a black woman shouldn't have a white man in the end?
Hey, what's up, you guys? This is Steffi, aka In My Humble Opinion, and I have a bit of a different video for you guys today. So I meant for this video to come out on Thursday, but unfortunately it took me a lot longer to edit. So it's coming out today, and what this video is, it's a snippet from my podcast that I host called DIVA DAILIES, a podcast where we deconstruct divas on film, TV, and in music. And in that episode, we talked about Whitney Houston in The Bodyguard. So I feel like I don't really talk about my podcast at all, especially on my YouTube channel. And I wanted to sort of use some of the audio from my podcast and turn that into sort of like video essay conversations that I could post here on my YouTube channel. So if you haven't listened to the podcast, I will post a link to it in the description box as well as in the pinned comment down below. You can hear the entire conversation because what you're about to hear is not the full thing. Usually the episodes run about like an hour to an hour and a half. So yeah, this is a very, very small snippet of that conversation. But what is different, because this is YouTube, is I've added some visuals to go with what we are talking about. So it kind of is like a bit of a video essay in that way. Again, I meant for this video to come out on Thursday in tribute to Whitney Houston. Her death anniversary was on Thursday, February 11th, but it took me a lot longer than I thought it would to edit this. So yes, I hope you guys enjoy this little video clip that I have today. And if you do end up liking it, please make sure to go and listen to the full episode. Diva Dailies is available to listen to on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Google Podcasts, Deezer, wherever you listen to podcasts, really. And yeah, that's pretty much it. Also, my guest co-host on this episode, her name is Angie. She's great. She's a huge Whitney Houston fan too. So yeah, I hope you guys enjoy. So we get to the very end of the movie and it's their goodbye. It's after Frank has taken the bullet for Rachel. Quite literally.
Yes.
And also another moment in which we get to hear Whitney scream.
Right, exactly.
That's my bodyguard!
Frank, no, Frank! Yes, another epic moment.
Not me! He's my bodyguard! No! No! Frank! Stay with me!
Like, I really felt like that gusto in her. So that leads us to the very end, after Frank has quite literally almost sacrificed himself for Rachel, and they're gonna say goodbye because Frank isn't going to work for Rachel anymore as the bodyguard. And that's when we get the iconic epic moment of Rachel boarding that plane, the plane like leaving, Kevin Costner's like on the ground floor just waving goodbye. For me, what I love about that whole sequence is it's so well choreographed and synced to the music.
I agree.
On a very serious note, I know we've been like joking around the entire time, but this is actually a very good thing that they did.
Yes, I haven't seen another film set up their soundtrack quite like The Bodyguard.
Yes.
And this is that moment.
The visual that goes with the song is just like it's so iconic too.
Yeah.
Because it looks like a classic Hollywood movie, right?
Yes. Classic is the perfect term.
Yeah, because I mean, it's like that classic narrative point when the two leads, the two lovers can't be together anymore. We've seen that in like the oldest Hollywood movies, like, you know, like Casablanca. Right. And even the way that Whitney is dressed, where she has like that scarf over her head. She looks like she could have been like a old school classic Hollywood actress back in the day.
I think that's what makes the scene so great. It's almost a scene of nostalgia. With a twist, of course, because didn't Kevin Costner say that it was one of the, not the first interracial kisses, but on big screen, seeing an interracial couple kiss like that on screen, it was still pretty big.
No, yeah, you're absolutely right. Like the fact that it was Whitney Houston at this point in her career, and it was Kevin Costner at this point in his career being opposite of one another in that scene is what amplified that moment even more.
Yeah. And also, can we give a shout out to the camera angle, the spinning camera?
Yes.
When they were kissing. Oh my gosh. The fact that they agreed upon the beginning of I Will Always Love You being a cappella.
Yes.
Which I think intensifies the scene. It's a perfect scene, really.
That was actually Kevin Costner's suggestion. He wanted that beginning to be a cappella, which like is so cinematic.
Yeah.
I didn't pick the song because I was thinking what it was going to become. I just picked the song because I thought emotionally was right there. And when you want to tell somebody that you love them in song, there's no braver way to do it than without music. There's a subconscious thing that goes, wow, this person's going to make sure I hear every word. They're not going to cloud it with this or that. It's like I'm making a statement. And so for me, the statement a cappella was very important for the movie. And so the radio might not play I Will Always Love You because it starts that way. I remember saying, absolutely, don't be so sure. I wouldn't be too sure about that.
And I also think too, like when we think about like the cultural significance of The Bodyguard, it's really interesting that within the world of the movie, it was no mention at all.
Absolutely. Yeah.
And there was the notion that if she was going to be in it, can we have the scene that explains the black and white thing? And I thought, absolutely not.
And I think it's also really interesting too that like while within the movie it was never mentioned at all, if you go back and watch a lot of the press junkets that Whitney and Kevin were doing at the time, like they were always being asked about the interracial aspect of the movie, and like awkwardly so. Like there were some really awkward questions that they were asked, and it was just like, ugh.
I've seen some of those interviews.
You don't get him in the end. Is that because of the Hollywood code says that a black woman shouldn't have a white man in the end?
That wasn't written in the script. It was written like he goes his way and she goes hers, you know? That's it. It wasn't that she can't have him because he's white, you know? I mean, come on, look at our world and look how we're living. I mean, it's every day you see white and black people together.
Yes, but not in Hollywood films.
Well, now you got it. This is new. Here you have it.
That was a moment where I think they wanted life to imitate art. But as we saw in a lot of the interviews, there was still a lot of growing that we needed to do. And this was in 92. Like,
right.
You know? I mean, but then again, I'm not sure I don't know if you've seen the movie Jungle Fever.
No, I haven't.
And what is he, like blonde, blue-eyed surfer type?
Hey, dude.
Right?
She's white. White! Man, you...
Yeah, well, he's black. If your father ever found out, I don't know.
She's Italian.
H-bomb.
From Bensonhurst.
Nuclear megaton bomb.
Hey, look, this is the 90s. There's nothing wrong with it, you know?
Both of you's got jungle fever.
Jungle Fever is a movie that Spike Lee did. The whole premise of the film is about interracial love.
Oh, okay.
And I think it came out around the same time as well. So maybe that was still like a big topic that was being discussed.
Right, like that was something that was kind of seen as like taboo.
Yeah.
Even at that point.
Yeah. I mean, I know it's still taboo today.
Right.
Not in the same way, but the fact that it's 1992 and that was some of the biggest questions that they were asked is crazy to me.
Mm-hmm.
For sure. To make a remark on the nostalgia part, we keep forgetting that I Will Always Love You is a Dolly Parton song. So I can only imagine like even more nostalgia around the fact that she was singing a Dolly Parton song.
And that it was like completely reinvented too, in a way.
Yes, that part. Yeah. Even if you didn't know the song and you were referencing it from the date scene, you wouldn't have picked up on the fact that she was singing I Will Always Love You until the chorus.
Right.
And then it would have hit you like, oh my gosh.
Right.
That is beautiful.
Because they're referencing so many different things, but at the same time, like reinventing it in a way, and in them reinventing things that we're already familiar with, whether it's classic Hollywood movies or music. The fact that it still manages to like take all of those things and like turn it on its head and reinvent it all in one go it's a really well crafted scene.
And I would argue that it's a perfect scene.
Yeah.
I mean,
you know, like you can pretty much tell while we were talking about The Bodyguard, it has its like clunky moments.
Yeah.
If anything, like it sticks its landing.
Absolutely.
So you said that you did watch the Whitney documentary.
Absolutely. Yes.
That documentary, The 2018 one, not the Can I Be Me one.
Right.
My thing with that documentary is I wish we would have heard a bit more about Whitney's professional, like, career legacy and her impact. 'Cause I felt like that documentary kind of was used to clear such and such rumors. But the one aspect of the documentary that I did like that they talked about was the cultural significance of the Bodyguard coinciding with her going to South Africa and performing.
Yeah.
I thought that was so powerful. Like, I didn't even know that Whitney was the first major artist to perform in the newly unified South Africa. And I would imagine, like, seeing the star of this particular movie singing those songs in a newly unified South Africa, like, that just adds so much weight to that moment, you know?
Right. Yeah.
6 years ago, Whitney sang in honor of prison inmate Nelson Mandela at London's Freedom Fest. And tonight, she sings in honor of a free and unified South Africa.
Thank you very much. She is one of the priceless jewels of the anti-apartheid struggle. Respected both for her singing talent and for her commitment.
I am elated about the changes that have been made there. It's only the beginning, but it's a damn good start.
I think it's important to mention when you talk about the Bodyguard.
Absolutely. And in the same vein, I would point out as well, Robyn Crawford, in her book, we kind of got a behind the scenes of how much work Whitney put in for this role.
The thing about Whitney was that whatever she decided to do, she always did her best. She was drained beyond any reasonable limit. There were times she wondered whether or not she'd be able to make it through the process. But she did. And on the day they said it's a wrap, no one was more relieved than Nip.
And I appreciate that as well, in the same vein,
Absolutely. Well, before we move on to the other segments, I have to ask, what's your favorite song off of the Bodyguard soundtrack, aka the Whitney portion of the album? Because I really don't give a flying fuck about those other songs.
Favorite song? That is a hard one.
Yeah, I mean, it's a hard one too. I don't know if I could even answer my own question, but...
All right, I'm going to go deep here.
Okay.
Because this one breaks my heart. So after reading the Robyn book...
Oh my God, which... Oh,
heartbreak.
We can have a moment to talk about the Robyn Crawford book because...
Great. Because...
Woo!
Let me back up. Before Robyn's book, I would probably say I Have Nothing. Or I'm Every Woman. After Robyn's book, Run to You.
Oh.
Just hit completely different.
That is so interesting that you bring that up.
Listen, it's one of the most heartbreaking songs. Kind of understanding where she was at the time and...
Who, Robyn or Whitney? Or both?
Both. But mainly Whitney. Yeah, and the fact that she couldn't sing that song live often.
Oh my God, yes. Now you're going to into Stan territory, I feel like.
I mean, it's rare. I've been trying to find live renditions of Run to You, and I can only find about 2.
Yeah.
Maybe. But every time she sings it, I hear her live. It breaks my heart. Her vocals on the song, on the record version, is flawless.
Yes. Oh my God.
Yeah, and I just imagine her singing that song to Robyn. There's something about the way she sang it. It sounds different than any of the other Bodyguard songs.
There's an emotional vulnerability she has on that song.
She's vulnerable. That is the key word. She's extra vulnerable in a way that we don't hear, really, I want to say, in a lot of her catalog.
Yeah, because even for the ballads, we think of the power that voice has.
Yeah.
But yeah, there is a vulnerability in her performance with Run to You specifically.
Right.
Gosh, that's so hard for me to choose what my favorite song is. I mean, I always go with I Have Nothing. The opening is just so dramatic. And you're going to listen to a song when that starts. That's why I'm
right.
Here she comes.
Right. And the climax to the song is phenomenal. Unmatched.
No one can do it like her.
Unmatched.
And that's what annoys me too, is when other people try to sing Whitney songs to show that they have chops. And it's obviously it's not going to compare, but what annoys me even more is when people are oh, the second coming of Whitney. It's no,
listen,
she doesn't need to come again.
Like it.
The natural tone and quality of her voice.
Yes.
You can't replicate that.
Unmatched.
Yeah.
I'll give Whitney Houston one thing.
Oh, yeah.
She said that in, was it the Can I Be Me documentary, or it's probably the Whitney documentary, where she said, I taught Whitney how to sing. She said something like the soul, the mind, and the heart.
Yeah. I think that was the Whitney documentary.
And anybody who has sang a cover of Whitney, I feel it lacks a combination of all three. Also, just she had great talent, like great skill.
Yeah. Like her musicality.
Yes.
Unmatched.
Absolutely. And she knows how to both vocalize on record as well as live. And that is important. That is truly important.
We'll never hear another voice like that.
Yeah.
That's like once in a lifetime.